And so when you're resting in faith, this looks like, okay, for example, an analogy I often use is like baking a cake, right? You've already done the work, you've already put all the ingredients together, right? You put the ingredients together, you follow the directions, you follow the instructions, you put it in the pan, and now you've actually put it in the oven. So now you're just resting, right? You're resting knowing it's already done. You did your part. So now you're just resting. You're not sitting there in front of the oven, right? You put the timer on for whatever, 40 minutes or whatever. And you're not sitting there in front of the oven like, okay, is it baking? Is it rising? Is it working? Is it working? You're not opening the oven up every second, opening it up, checking to see if it's baking. No, you're just trusting and you're resting in faith, knowing that you've done your part, you've mixed the ingredients, and now your cake is rising. And you know that when that alarm goes off, when that oven goes off, you can now open up the oven and enjoy your cake, right? You can literally just just enjoy it. And so you stop striving, but you go about your day in peace. You don't obsess over wealth. You don't obsess over money because you know you're doing your part. You're serving, you're creating, you're giving value, right? And wealth is really just an exchange of value. So when you are showing up, you're doing your part, you can rest in faith, knowing that the seed will the cake will rise and you'll be able to enjoy it. And even with planting a seed, you know, you've planted the seed and now it's just time to, you've done the work, you've cropped it, you've planted the seed, you've dug the soil, planted the seed, and now you've watered it, you've put it in a place where there's sunlight. And so now you rest knowing like, okay, this seed is going to sprout. It's going to sprout because I've done my part. So you rest and just trust, knowing that God is doing his part, right? So you expect it. You're resting in expectation. So faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And so when you're hoping for something, it is positive expectation. Hope, like your faith is like the action, right? Your faith is preparation for what it is that you're hoping for. And so when you're hoping for a positive expectation, you can rest in faith knowing that it's going to come. It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. It's already done. But it's going to take a process. It's going to take some time. So rest in the Lord. My last analogy, because I have so many analogies for this. So many. Man, which one should I do? Okay, I'll just do this one. You booked a flight, right? You booked a flight to Jamaica and you bought the ticket, you get to the airport, right? You drop your bags off, you release control, you dropped your bags, so you trust that the bags are going to be on the plane when you land in Jamaica. You get on the flight, now you're resting in faith. You're on the flight and there's a pilot there, they're flying the plane. You know that I'm in Miami. It takes an hour to get to Jamaica. So I'm on the flight. I know that in an hour or so, I'm going to be landing in Jamaica. Do I get up from my seat every 5 minutes and go knock on the pilot's cabinet and knock on the pilot's cabin and be like, when are we going to be landing? When are we going to get to Jamaica? When are we going to get to Jamaica? No, you don't do that, right? You're going to interrupt and delay the process. You're going to delay the flight. And it's the same thing when you're receiving wealth, right? When you're manifesting what the Lord has placed on your heart, and if you haven't seen it come into the physical yet, just trust, rest in faith, knowing that it's going to happen, knowing that you're going to land in Jamaica, right? But the more times you open up that oven, the more times you're knocking on the pilot's door, the more times you're digging up the seed, it's just delaying the process. Okay. And so I digress because I can go on and on and on. But that is really important. It's really just trusting, releasing control, resting in faith, knowing it's happening, it's already done. And then when you do that, you can receive with gratitude. Receive. This is how you receive wealth. You receive it with gratitude. So when someone, say you're like I said, your goal is to make it to your 10K months consistently so that you can transition into business full time. And so say for instance, someone signs up for your workshop, right? That's the sprout, right? Say for instance, someone um that when you receive when I say receive with gratitude, so when someone signs up for your workshop, even though it's a $20 workshop or even if it's a free workshop, you know that it's just proof that it's happening. Like it's already done. And it's just like every time something like that happens, you receive it with gratitude. You receive it with thanksgiving. And you're just giving God thanks in advance, knowing that those are just clues and signs along the journey that it's actually happening. It's already done. And it's going to manifest into this physical reality in very soon. But you keep your expectation high, knowing that gratitude just opens you up and keeps you open to receiving more, right? And it's like you're in high expectation. You have high hopes. You have high expectation of the outcome that you're desiring, right? And so yeah, so these small harvests mean big ones are coming, right? These small harvests just mean that the big one is coming, and Thanksgiving is just proof of faith. And also, if you can't thank God for the seed, you're not ready for the harvest. Okay. If you can't thank God for the seed, you're not ready for the harvest. And so it's really important that every day you're receiving with gratitude and you're just giving God thanks along the way at all times. Right. The Bible tells us be anxious for nothing, and for us to enter into God's gates with thanksgiving. So just always being thankful. Like when Jesus prayed, he always gave thanks before the miracle happens. Always. And so you just always want to be in full gratitude and just full receivership, just knowing that your provider is protecting you. He's making provision. He's making the way. He's clearing the path for you. And all of what he's promised to you will come into fruition. All right. And so that is how you receive wealth, right? And you want to, lastly, this is why I said it's like 5 steps. You want to repeat daily. Okay, so you want to repeat this daily. This is not a one time thing. This is a way of life. You want to renew your mind daily, right? You want to renew your mind daily. You want to continue to release control every day, knowing that you are not in control of the outcome. You co-create the outcome. You co-create in your actions, by your thoughts, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're speaking, your actions. Like that is how you co-create, right? So you can create the outcome, co-create the outcome, but the outcome that you want to see, that's by faith, but you don't control it. You don't control the timeline. And so you release control of the timeline, just knowing that it's already done. And when it comes into fruition, you can just rest in faith, knowing it's going to come into fruition, and then receive with gratitude.